Manchester United have finally announced the first signing of Matheus Cunha. It is done. It is official. It is complete. He is a Manchester United player, but one player in, one massive player out. Bruno Fernandes' agreement is close. Now, Ben Jacobs has some of the best links to Saudi, and everything's pointing at Bruno likely leaving Manchester United. All that needs to happen is Bruno to say and get the agreement done with Saudi, because Manchester United, will sell Bruno for the right price. Al Hilal will pay whatever it takes to bring Bruno in, and indications are that Bruno could be moving to Saudi. It's more about him convincing his family. We're going to talk about the latest on Bruno, because something tells me tomorrow we're going to get a bomber on Bruno. Something tells me tomorrow we're going to know in the next 48 hours, but something tells me. But we're going to talk about the Bruno news, because Bruno leaving allows United Gyokeres and Mbeumo moves. We're going to give you the latest on Mbeumo. There's a couple updates on that. We'll talk about Cunha. We'll talk about other stories. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news, and update roundup. If you are new to my channel, throughout the summer, on days when there was a mass amount of news, which probably was like 5 evenings a week, I did these 10-minute videos late at night to sum up all the news that had come out that evening in 10 minutes. So you don't have to bother watching like a 40-minute live show. So if you want to stay up to date, on days where there's a lot of news from good sources, I will be doing late night videos and 10-minute roundups, including today, where the first deal of Matheus Cunha has been announced. It's done, it's signed, it's agreed, it's complete, it's official. It is happening. I can't wait to see him in the shirt. I'm so happy about this deal. I'm not going to spend too long talking about Cunha, because I've been talking about Cunha for over a year. I did tweets from well over a year ago like, oh, we should sign Cunha. Oh, we should sign. And then Amorim came in, I was like, oh, we need to sign Cunha. And everyone was like, he's not going to come to Man United. He's not going to come to Man United. Why would he go to Man United? Suck on that. He's at Manchester United. He's our player. And I just think this guy is the guy. They're going to write loads of negative things about Cunha and his personality. Now he's at Manchester United, but he is the guy. I'm telling you that now. Anyway, let's get into Bruno news. Al Hilal now believe an agreement with Fernandes is close after a week of positive meetings. Bruno is considering the move with his family, weighing factors beyond just football. Hilal wants an answer by Friday. Ben Jacobs, a lot of people call him a copy and paste guy. He'll just sort of repeat what Romano and Ornstein and other sources say, in other words. But when it comes to Saudi, he does break a lot of exclusives, and he clearly has connections to Saudi. And when it comes to Saudi news, I think Ben Jacobs is a good source of information. Now, he's saying Al Hilal believe an agreement with Fernandes is close after a week of positive meetings. And I was watching the Muppeteers video talking about this, and the Muppeteers basically said, if your wife is talking about going on a date with another man, even if she's not going on that date with another man, it's over with you and your wife. That was sort of the analogy they used. It's like if Bruno is talking with Saudi, talking with his family about Saudi, and actually in negotiations with the Saudi deal, well, he's clearly open to the Saudi move. And if Bruno is open to the Saudi move, and Saudi are willing to pay what it takes, then he's very likely leaving Manchester United, because Saudi are willing to pay Manchester United, 100 million plus, break the record. Bruno is talking to Saudi, so he's clearly, considering leaving United. He said yes to the project. He just hasn't said yes to the terms. There's some final things he wants. He's now going to spend the week in Portugal with João Cancelo. With João Cancelo, and he's also going to be with Neves, who are at Al Hilal. And the fact that an agreement is close for Bruno says to me, I think he's gone. Now, Romano did give some updates on this. Bruno Fernandes, agent back in Europe with Manchester United. Al Hilal are prepared to pay whatever it takes to both United and Bruno. And Romano himself has literally confirmed Al Hilal will pay what it takes. Amorim does not want to lose Bruno. Amorim wants Bruno. But Ineos, they know if they get 120 million for Bruno, that could allow them to spend 250 million plus because of PSR, pure profit. They can invest that. Now, if Manchester United had brains, and if Manchester United were good at spending in the transfer market, 125 million for Bruno, you know what? That could improve the squad. The problem with Man United is we ain't good at reinvesting in the summer. It's like, if we got 125 to 150 million for Bruno, football is sometimes about improving your weak spots, not continuing to improve your strengths, and we got a lot of weak spots. So that could allow Man United to do a lot. But I also think if we lose Bruno, it's such a loss, and I don't trust Man United to replace that. Bruno is probably the only good thing to really happen to this club since Sir Alex. One of the few good things to happen to this club since Sir Alex Ferguson left, and I'd be heartbroken if Bruno left because look, if Bruno left and Man United went and signed Cole Palmer, and Manchester United went and signed Adam Wharton or Baleba, I'd be gassed. But that's never going to happen. We've got to be realistic. So look, I don't want Bruno to go anywhere. If we finish like 5th this season, I think we're in a position to let Bruno go. But because we finished 15th, I still think we need Bruno, his experience, his captainness, his leadership next season. Even though it could be really beneficial, we are selling Rashford for pure profit. We are selling Garnacho for pure profit. We're selling Bruno. Bruno, Rashford, Garnacho going in the same window. That is a lot of losses. I know Amorim had a lot going in and a lot going out in his first few seasons, but it's a lot. There is benefits to Bruno leaving like this, though. Bruno Fernandes' sale could unlock huge summer spend. So multiple sources suggest Bruno would fund major signings, and Bruno would make major signings more realistic. Al Hilal are willing to pay over 100 million transfer fee. They will start with 80, they will go up to 100. There's a belief they could go up to 120. United could demand up to 150. You know, if they're willing to give Bruno Fernandes 200 million in wages in 3 years, they can definitely pay 120 million for Bruno Fernandes. United could generate 120 million pure profit. Now, 120 million in pure profit, technically, if Manchester United, all the players we signed in the summer, we signed over 4-year contracts, Manchester United could technically spend 480 million pounds, which is crazy to think about it, but it also you need to take into account wages and a lot of other stuff on top of that. So that it's not quite as easy as that. But the club are working on a reported 125 million net spend budget. Bruno would allow another 100 million on top of that, plus the 150 million we're going to get from other sales, plus the pure profits. United in a position where they could easily spend over 300 million pounds. Bruno, Sale, and Rashford and Garnacho probably would allow United to spend over 400 million pounds, which would massively increase our chances of signing key targets like Mbeumo and Gyokeres. We're racing Newcastle for Mbeumo. Mbeumo's open to both Man United and Newcastle. It's not about Champions League football. It's about what project he thinks is better. And realistically, as a Man United fan, the Newcastle project is probably better for Mbeumo. However, we do play in a free at the back system. So did Thomas Frank. United are just the bigger club, but Newcastle have Champions League. They have the more sustainable trajectory. I think Eddie Howe as a manager, I think any player would want to work with. I think he's fantastic. I think he could choose the Newcastle project over United, and I can't blame him. If I was a young player or was taking that step up in my career, even as a Man United fan, I do think Newcastle would be somewhere where I think this is my career. And I hate saying that, but I think he could choose Newcastle over us, and you can't blame him. Victor Gyokeres, yeah, I mean, look, Arsenal are out of the Victor Gyokeres race, it's believed. Who knows what's going to happen with Sesko. Less clubs in for him, which people saying is a red flag. Why is no one in for him? Maybe there's something they know that we don't. I don't know. I'd love Victor Gyokeres. He wants Champions League football, but some sources say he'd rather be in England than Italy. It's England or Spain. He wants to go to Juventus of interest, but they're not even the most stable club in the world. So let's see with Victor Gyokeres, but it's believed if Bruno goes, our chances of getting Victor Gyokeres increase because also we can pay him a lot more in wages. Maybe that increases our chance of Osimhen, but I think Osimhen is very much gone to Saudi. I think there's a lot more chance of getting Gyokeres than Osimhen. I think there's a lot more chance of it, to be honest. There's other news coming out, apparently, that Diaz has decided to leave Liverpool, so he could be going to Saudi, which is one to watch. The Muppeteers gave an update on Mbeumo, by the way, saying there's positivity that talks are progressing well for Brian Mbeumo, and United's chances are improving of signing the player. So I'm just going to share my screen just now, because the Muppeteers are live on YouTube. They do live shows most days on YouTube. Definitely go check out their YouTube channel, because they're different to other YouTubers, but they actually have exclusive info, which I always think is good to watch them, the Muppeteers. And apparently they've just said, didn't watch this bit of the live stream, that there's positivity that talks are progressing well for Mbeumo and United's chances are improving. I tell you what, Liverpool could be in the race for this guy if they lose the winger as well. So let's hurry up. Let's hurry up and get Mbeumo. Obviously, we've got the money coming in for whenever Alvaro goes to Madrid. Obviously, we're going to have money coming in if Sancho agrees to lower his wage and go to Chelsea. But we need that money coming in to get Mbeumo and see if we can beat Newcastle to what would be an unreal signing. Now, what we do know about Bruno is United do not want to sell. Amorim wants Fernandes to stay and believes he wants to remain at the club. There's no official offer yet from Al Hilal, but other sources are saying, look, Manchester United have a price on Bruno. Amorim doesn't want to sell him, but Man United could have a price on Bruno. We just know that Amorim wants to keep him. However, United have said if he agrees to deal with Al Hilal, we'll sell him. If he indicates he wants to go, we'll sell him. Now, considering Bruno was considering leaving Manchester United last year, and Manchester United gave him this big new contract and begged him to stay and said that we're going to be back, and then we finished, 15th this season? Of course, it's going to take a while to think about this decision. It's also his family. Does his family want to live in Saudi for a couple of years? There's a lot of factors there. There's the no tax, there's the nicer weather, but there's other factors, the language, this and that. Obviously he's still got a few years left at the top level. Does he want to go into Saudi? But can Bayern Munich afford him? They have interest. PSG have interest. Can they afford him? There's lots of factors there. But Manchester United's budget is around 125 million plus whatever money the club can raise through sales. They want another striker, they want another midfielder, they want another 10, with Brian Mbeumo touted as the number 1 10 target, said Chris Wheeler. And United and Newcastle are the most likely destination for Brian Mbeumo. Bruno going increases the chance of a sale. I think United are pushing towards letting Bruno go because they want a midfielder. Like, we've got Cunha, but we want another 10 in Mbeumo. We want a top striker. We want a midfielder. We also know that we need a goalkeeper and probably another defensive reinforcement. To get that done, Man United might be pushing towards a Bruno sale. Anyway, people, that is your 10-minute roundup. We also had updates from Romano saying that United do like Mbeumo, but so do Newcastle and Arsenal. There's news coming about how much Cunha loves Manchester United. He was always sort of going to pick Manchester United. Let's hope we get some updates on Mbeumo. Hopefully we'll get an update on Bruno in the next 24 hours. I want him to stay. I'm not sure he will stay. Let's wait and see. Thank you for watching. Bye.